Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to an episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was Mickey 17, making $3.67 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $40 million and its worldwide total to $109 million. So it seems the best case scenario for this movie will happen. It will make back its initial production budget of $118 million. Hey, it's better than nothing. It definitely seems to be having much more of a grasp internationally, even if it's not by that much. So, small victories here. It's not as big of a disaster as it could have been, but this is still a really big disappointment altogether. This was supposed to be like one of the big tentpole movies of the month, and just audiences aren't really rushing out to see it. Unfortunately, just not a lot of interest, and the word of mouth has just not been as strong or positive as it has been within the film community. Yes, over there, it seems to be really winning people over, but general audiences just don't seem to be vibing with this movie that much. Yeah, unfortunately, still gonna be a big disappointment altogether, still gonna be a big money loser, but hey, it made back its initial budget. That's something. Number 4 was Novocaine, making $3.68 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $15 million and its worldwide total to $20 million. So, like Mickey 17, best case scenario happened. It was able to make back its initial budget. It's definitely gonna make that domestically as well, and maybe best case scenario, this slowly but surely gets to that doubling point worldwide. It doesn't seem to be having a big grasp internationally. Maybe that's because it hasn't opened in that many countries yet, but hopefully it turns this ship around. But you know where I'm going with this. Like Mickey 17, this is still not performing all that well. Definitely going to be a big disappointment. Not going to be as big of a money loser as Mickey 17 because this was much cheaper to make. Again, only $18 million, but still though, this movie is just not bringing people to the theater. Word of mouth is not doing its job. It fell 58% this weekend. Not great for your second weekend, and it looks like it's just going to be struggling from this point forward. I'm sure they were hoping like this would be like the sleeper hit right now and that people would love it and go out and see it, but that's just not the case with this one. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like people really enjoying this enough to encourage others to go check it out, or just finding any interest to see this movie, unfortunately. So yes, again, small victories, but Novocaine's looking like a big disappointment as well. Number 3 was Captain America Brave New World, making $4 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $192 million and its worldwide total to $401 million. Yeah, man, just another solid week for Captain America. It was only able to drop 29% this weekend. You would think like it would have, faced a bigger drop considering there's a new Disney movie out right now, but again, just through lack of competition, nothing really grabbing audiences to the theaters. It's just been stabilizing and continuing to leg out for itself. It's done far better than I think most people expected it to do, honestly, and because of that, it's going to be the first film of the year domestically to crack $200 million. I did not think this was going to happen with its second weekend, but here we are, and also it has surpassed $400 million worldwide as well. Again, I was not expecting it. I thought best case scenario it would come close, but again, here we are. Yeah, it is once again just really surprising how this movie has just been able to turn its ship around. That doesn't mean this is a Mufasa or anything. We're like, oh my god, this really climbed itself out of the hole. It's gone from a flop to a bomb to a slight disappointment. This is still not great. These are still not good numbers for this movie, but you cannot deny this is doing better than I think a lot of people were expecting to. So I guess that's the saving grace here. It could have been worse. Again, don't want to sugarcoat this. These are still not great numbers. I'm sure they were hoping by this point this movie would be at like 600 million or something. But the fact that it's been able to like stabilize and leg out this well, especially given the poor reception this movie has gotten, I think this is well more than enough. I think this is definitely serviceable. So yeah, still pretty solid performance for Captain America as of recent. Again, not great overall, but definitely surprising how things turned around a bit for this. Number 2 was once again Black Bag, making $4.2 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $14 million and its worldwide total to $23 million. So it seems the reception towards the film was not nearly as mixed as I thought it was. It actually held pretty well this weekend, just dropping 44%, which, given the type of movie this is, the type of audience it's going for, that's pretty impressive, and it could lead to a sleeper hit if it can continue to maintain these strongholds. It's definitely one of the few older skewering films out right now. Now, you know, it's not like it's like an R-rated horror movie or action movie. It's just a thriller geared towards adults, and I think that'll definitely make it stand out, and it could, you know, leg out better than I think most people thought it would. The problem, though, is once again that budget, man. For this type of movie, it was just too much. If this was Novocaine, I'd say, this ain't too bad. This is doing pretty well. But this is a $50 million movie. It's definitely not gonna double that. It might get to the initial production budget. It's already made a majority of it back, thankfully. Maybe it gets over that, but again, that you just gotta get to the doubling point, and I'm just not sure if the word of mouth is gonna be as big enough to get it over that number, unfortunately. So while things are looking promising for the film, especially with the word of mouth and the reception, I don't think it's going to be enough to salvage the movie. So again, kind of an interesting movie we got here. Things are looking promising, but not promising enough. I think that's the best way to phrase it. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was Snow White, opening with $42 million this weekend domestically and $85 million worldwide. This is the biggest opening for a family film this year so far, topping Dogman, Paddington in Peru, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, and Night of the Zoopocalypse. It is also the second biggest opening of the year overall, once again topping Dogman, but also Mickey 17 and Den of Thieves 2, but still sitting behind Captain America, Brave New World. Now, obviously, just judging this number, this number on its own, this is a saving grace for movie theaters. If you're a theater owner, I'm sure you're happy that we were able to get out of that depressing couple weeks we've been enduring. The fact that we got a movie making over $20 million for the first time in a while is a tour de force. This is probably going to bring a lot of families to the theater right now, especially with like some kids just starting spring break. It's gonna become one of the biggest movies of the year right now. It's already 4th behind One of Them Days, and it's definitely going to surpass that soon, and soon it'll pass stuff like Dogman and so on and so forth. It's going to get to 100 million worldwide as well. I'm sure it will get there, considering how close it is to that milestone. So why is the news surrounding this so doom and gloom? Like, these seem to be good numbers. Well, unfortunately, these seem like good numbers, and this is good for like movie theaters, but it's not good for this movie. This is a very, very, very expensive movie. There's been tons of numbers floating around for this thing. Some are saying it's 200, others are saying it's 240, others are saying it's 270. Basically, this is a very, very expensive movie, and when you put that into perspective, that's not enough for this movie, unfortunately. I think they spent way too much on this movie. I think they had way too much faith into Snow White, of all things. Like, this definitely did not need it to be this expensive. I know there was a delay because of the writer's strike and actor's strike and so on, but still, there's just way too big of a budget, and there was just tons of controversy surrounding this movie, tons of bad word of mouth pre-release. You know, lots of people were being largely negative towards this movie, and unfortunately people are being more negative towards it now, as the movie is not being well received by people. Critics are a bit mixed, but audiences, they clearly just do not like this movie. It got a B+ on CinemaScore, the lowest out of any of the live action remakes. Yes, even lower than stuff like Dumbo or Maleficent, or like the bottom of the barrel stuff. And as I said with Day the Earth Blew Up last weekend, it puts it on par with, once again, the movie I just mentioned, Day the Earth Blew Up, but also Garfield. Not a great sign. I'm not sure if the word of mouth is really going to help it out. It might be able to prove me wrong here, because it is a family movie. There isn't much out right now for families. I mean, there is a Looney Tunes movie, but not a lot of people are seeing that, unfortunately. And Dogman and Paddington have definitely lost their luster over the past couple weeks. So there is that, but it's also got another family movie coming out in 2 weeks with Minecraft, and I'm sure that's gonna steal a lot of this movie's attention. So yeah, overall, things are just not looking great for this movie, unfortunately. I just don't know if the studio knew exactly what to do with this movie. It just seemed like they were unsure and just wanted to get this out as quickly as possible, and unfortunately it just isn't looking very good for this movie. It's probably going to be one of their bigger flops, which I didn't think was going to be possible after their massive year last year. I mean, look at Mufasa. That looked like it was going to be the big flop, and that turned its ship around. And unfortunately, this is looking like it's going to be what Mufasa looks like it was going to be. Maybe this turns its ship around. Again, Captain America has been turning its ship around, and hey, like I said, Mufasa was able to, but I don't know, man. Just the word of mouth and reception around this has been so negative thus far. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. I would love to be proven wrong, but I just don't know. So yeah, Snow White, it may have revived the box office, and if I'm assuming if you're a movie theater owner, you will take what you can get right now. But unfortunately, if you're Disney and if you're this movie with this budget, these are not great numbers, unfortunately. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. This weekend we have 2 new major wide releases. I am aware that Death of a Unicorn also comes out this weekend, but given the minimal marketing or buzz surrounding the film, I don't think it's gonna really break the box office. It's gonna crack the top 5, but I'm not sure if it's gonna really do a lot of damage here. Just not a lot to say here with that movie, unfortunately. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm just not expecting that much. So let's move on to the other 2 big movies, which are starting with The Woman in the Yard, which is a new horror film from Blumhouse. It's about this family living in the middle of nowhere, and this lady dressed all in black, just sitting in the middle of their yard, and strange things start to happen. Believe it or not, it has been a while since the last horror movie, The Monkey, and that was also the first horror movie this year to really break out and do pretty solid numbers. It's been a rough year so far for horror, so I think that'll benefit this movie. It's also had a really big marketing push. I've been seeing tons of commercials and promos for this movie, and I think the word's definitely gotten out, and the premise is definitely intriguing. I think it might bring some people, definitely the horror community, to the theaters, especially since things have been so dour compared to earlier this year where there was just so much horror stuff. The problem is, though, is that like a lot of the horror movies this year, the buzz just hasn't been there for this movie. I don't see a lot of people talking about it or getting the word out around this. It's not that people don't know this movie's coming out, because my god, the commercials I've seen for this thing, it's just that I'm not seeing a lot of interest, or at least high interest, with this movie. But again, it's Blumhouse. I'm not expecting a big budget with this, so maybe it'll be able to do really well and exceed my expectations, but I'm not expecting much for this movie. It's nothing anything terrible, but nothing great either. And then there's A Working Man, the latest Jason Statham action thriller where he's just a working man, but this time he's trying to save a girl from sex trafficking, trying to get her out of the situation, and of course killing people in ridiculously over the top ways. Jason Statham is still one of those actors who can bring people to the theater. People just love the guy. They love his charisma, his charm, and the way he kills people in these action movies. We saw that with The Beekeeper, how that movie was able to become a sleeper hit, and I could see this movie pulling that off too. Again, he still knows how to bring people to the theater. It's been a while since we've had like an action movie quite like this. We've had stuff like Novocaine, but this is one that's like taking itself very seriously and really delivering on like the action and the kills here, unlike something like Novocaine, which is like throwing a lot of jokes, definitely more sillier. The marketing has been really well. I've saw a lot of promotion, a lot of commercials for it, and there does seem to be interest with the film here as well. I just don't think it's going to really do a lot, you know. There's still a barrier when it comes to these movies, like even with like The Beekeeper last year. It did well, but there was still like, it had a bar, and it met the bar. So I think this movie will also meet that bar here as well. I don't see it, you know, again, breaking new ground for the box office, but it wouldn't surprise me if it exceeded expectations. If there's any comparisons I can make, probably Den of Thieves 2. That movie surprised me earlier this year, and I think this one can do the same. Maybe not as much as Den of Thieves 2, but certainly in a similar degree, you know. Yeah, I think we could see a solid opening here for this type of movie. Nothing groundbreaking, but certainly something surprising here. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.